Parker Schnabel's truck accident, and he's very broken on Gold Rush. A very sad episode for Parker fans. Hello everyone. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The truck's engine roared to life in the early morning. A light mist floated in the distance, and the sky was an unfamiliar gray. It was a morning when the whole world seemed a little quiet and full of suspense. Parker Schnabel was sitting in the driver's seat, headphones in his ears, hands on his hips. On one side was the weak radio signal, on the other, old thoughts were spinning like oysters in his head. After an evening's work, he woke up at night for a Friday trip, and it was a large consignor truck, not a gold-laden one, but rather spacious equipment and the usual mining equipment. The destination was in front of a remote field, where work would begin on a new drilling site. Parker had tried to forget a few painful moments as he drove, the last argument with his steaming girlfriend, the news of his father's illness, and those days when mining costs were rising and the team's morning meetings were filled with despair. Even as the truck set off, there was a kind of restlessness inside. Cold outside, a mingled smell of excitement and despair inside. As the road narrowed and began to descend, Parker was absorbed in the beauty of the fork in the road and the interminable trees. Suddenly, a group of fishing boats in front of the truck braked prematurely. Parker reflexively braked, but the heavy load in the back caused the truck to slip back a little. He felt a soft jolt, the weight of his lost body, and at that very moment, the bend in the road came unusually quickly. In a split second, everything changed. The truck's wheels were covered in smoke, and glass shattered and rained down on the small bridges like glass rain. A hollow ache spread across Parker's left shoulder. He wrapped a handkerchief around his shoulders in aerobic breathing. The noise outside turned into a rain of smoke, the sound of wheel blocks, the smell of iron and clay, and the screams of people. When Parker opened his eyes, he saw the truck had overturned and was stuck on a steep slope, stuck against a nearby tree. His face was unrecognizable, with cuts and bruises on his face and injuries like glass shards on his body. At first he didn't understand anything, only that his shoulder was undoubtedly breaking in pain. A voice rose from inside him, strangled. "Is everything okay?" But the voice, mixed with pain and despair, broke on its own. The first people to arrive at the scene were his mining team, flashlights on their shoulders, shocked expressions on their faces. The workers nearby leaned over to rescue Parker. Some broke the truck's window, and some carefully tied Parker up in a sack and carried him away. The people gathered around him had eyes full of worry and fear. The news flashed across the room, and Parker's mind went blank. He knew that work was a livelihood, but such a danger never spared anyone. When he arrived at the hospital, the pain spread through his body like a thorn in a tree's back. Parker's thoughts drifted between the X-rays, the scans, and the doctor's tug-of-war. The documents inside the truck, the invoices for the work, and his family burden, all went up in smoke. The doctor said, "No major fracture, but there's a big bruise on the shoulder. Surgery may be needed." An invisible pain spread across Parker's face. Not just physical but also emotional. He felt alone. The showtime on New Day was completely different. Parker had familiar faces, the shooting crew, and the buzz of fans, but this accident was personal. The pictures that had been recorded in front of him were shattered. The work plan was disrupted, but Parker's thoughts were preoccupied with other things. Who was hurt? Are his people okay? Will the truck return? And most importantly, would he himself be paralyzed? Even without TV cameras, the crowd and social media coverage spread the news. The news reached every corner. Parker Schnabel in truck accident, the headlines began to spin. It was strange for Parker. He had seen himself on TV cameras many times, but he had never tried to make his weak moments a show. This time the situation was different. The news could bring his personal pain to the public. His family, friends, and team members rushed to the hospital. There was a hard look in his father's eyes, in which his pain and pride were mixed together. Parker's mother just kept shouting, "You're alive, that's the big deal." Parker wanted to hear these words himself. The restlessness that had never left him, That restlessness had now calmed down a bit. The doctors decided on the first surgery. Parker's complex shoulder pain would go away, but the way back would not be easy. The surgery room, an unfamiliar, bright world. Parker's throat was dry. He thought, I got into this obsession as a teenager. Work, competition, risk. But when did it melt away? A hoarse voice rang out from inside his throat. Much suffering and much return lay ahead. Parker's recovery days after the operation passed slowly. He did physiotherapy, sometimes short walks, sometimes light lifting. Each small success left a big mark. His mood changed at some point. Taking risks like before was now reevaluated again. He realized that life needed to be reorganized. Everything needed to be handled properly like a load on a truck. The relationship with the team was tense. No one wanted to see Parker hurt. Everyone continued to work the mine, but Parker pulled over every day to go back to work. He knew that work wasn't just about making money. It was his identity, his identity. Gradually, he learned to take control of his work and think about his health. He prioritized new safety measures, routine changes, and machinery maintenance. A government investigation was also launched. The cause of the accident was investigated. Whether there was a fracture in the brake system, what the road condition was, how tired Parker was while driving, with police and insurance company representatives present to answer every domestic question. It was a turbulent experience for Parker. He knew that sometimes it was possible to be a small worm against nature, and sometimes a system error could bring about major disaster. A new battle raged within Parker. Did he want to show everyone that he was the invincible Parker? Or would he embrace this moment and rebuild his life? Every night Parker thought. He silently turned the pages of his memories. Father, childhood, mining, and everything combined to create a picture. Life is not just about wages but also about relationships and respect. In a month, Parker's recovery gradually bore fruit. He got back on the truck, but this time in a different way. With full safety gear, alert, and following a risk-free work process. His team also changed. A new understanding in the words of each member. Parker realized that the potential was now not just profit but also responsibility. He himself urged everyone to establish this principle. Safety first, speed later. A few months later Parker's experience was recorded as a short docu-series. No, it was not a mock drama. It was a story full of lessons drawn from his life. He sat in front of the camera and said, I thought I was alone at the time, but in fact this accident showed me. People are on my side, and the value of life is priceless. The video also became popular because it had real emotional depth, and it conveyed a message. Safety and relationships should never be neglected. Over time Parker's life changed. He started a new project, the Safe Truck Initiative, that provided safety training for the mining and transportation industries. Special workshops for truck drivers, route planning seminars, and a contributory medical care plan. All were part of the project. Parker knew this wasn't just his own recovery. It was a national responsibility. One day, Parker sat by the lake and watched the sky, the sun setting and the colors floating. He thought about how everything can change in an instant. How accidents, successes, and relationships all shape people's minds. There was peace in his voice. He knew, no matter how risky his life was, he would never give up his faith and his responsibility. The story doesn't end there. Despite the blow Parker had taken, he got back up, as strong and as humble as he could be. He learned that the greatest value is not gold, but human life. Inside his truck were no longer just tools. There were training books, safety pamphlets, and a small notebook, where he wrote down a joke or a gratitude each day. Parker would no longer be seen as a superhero, but as an ordinary man who knew how to keep his life moving forward despite a major setback. He never forgot his past mistakes. Instead, he learned from them and guided others. And at every step of the way, he felt that the pain he once felt had become a beacon of hope for many today. Have you ever faced a moment where an accident or mistake changed your life? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What would you do if you were Parker? Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our General Hospital Update news channel and stay with us.